15 parts so far, and hopefully this is the last part to get this Roland S-50 working. This Roland S-50 is more like a labour of love than it actually is a repair job, because if this had been a commercial repair job I would have given up a long time ago. That's the honest truth. But it's not. It's a personal challenge to see why this thing ain't working. Well, I had a theory, and my theory is the transformer is the windings in the transformer have blown. And I was kind of sitting, waiting for a fit of inspiration, I suppose you might call it. But the reality was, I don't think I've had a fit of inspiration. But what I have had, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. I saw somebody on one of the groups state they were breaking an S-50 with a 240 volt power supply. So there you go, that's the 240 volt power supply that I purchased from this guy, and it was shipped across from Spain, I think it was. I think it came from Spain. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to unsolder this, take the fuse out, put the new power supply in, connect it all up, and see if we, without connecting any of the internals, because these are all disconnected at the moment, so there's nothing internal, so from the power board down there's nothing connected. But first of all, see if that blows, because that's effectively as soon as you plug this in. On the old transformer it was blowing. It was like as soon as it got load, that was it. If we get past that, then I'll try plugging the rest of the boards in and see if we can get this old girl back up and running. I really am hoping that I could get this up and running, because it's a shame if we don't get it up and running, shall we put it that way, because it is such an iconic synthesizer for its era. All the bands that used the S-50 and then went on to use the S550, the W30, which were kind of all of the same era, and then you went up to the next level, which was kind of the S750, the S7. I'm not quite sure you class the S760 in that, but definitely the S750 and the S770 as sort of the kind of the next leap from this upwards, and then kind of the big Akai stuff took over in my view anyway, and then you ended up in the workstation era. So without further ado, let's kind of get on taking the old one out, put the new one in, and see what happens, I guess. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to loosen these bolts. There's two bolts as far as I can tell. There's this bolt. You can hear wind noises on the soundtrack. That is because it's a rather windy day. Old transformer is now removed. The reason I had to cut the wires rather than just desoldering them is because, of course, the previous person who worked on this synthesizer wrapped the wires around, which is something I would probably do as well. So I can't have a go, but it just means that I'm going to have to now unwind them, which I might be able to do just with the soldering iron, but I fired up the desolder sucker just in case I need that instead. Let's have a look. didn't need that. Great stuff. So that's the old transformer out. Next, new transformer in. So I've just unwrapped the transformer, and I'll try and do this on the overhead so you can see this. And the transformer actually is a multi-region transformer. The common is this pin here, and then it's 100, 117, 220, 240. Now, theoretically, this should work. If it was 220 and I plugged it into 240, it probably would work. But to be on the safe side, I am going to off camera. I'm not going to do this on camera because I'd have to reposition all the cameras and everything. All I'm going to do is I'm going to move that from there to there, so that it's on the 240 volt rail, which is a few additional windings that ensure that this is giving out 34 volts AC on the output side. So I'm going to do that in a sec, and then I'll come back and we'll install it. So as I said, off camera, what I've done is I've moved that wire from there, and I've just exposed some wires here so I can solder them onto the board. Let's pop that back on there, and create a loop. Should have done that with a pair of pliers, but not to worry. Okay, let's get those soldered in place. So far so good. Let's check continuity and then we'll power up. So I've got my continuity meter out. Let's just tap it on the points. Right. I'm going to go and find an IC cable and be brave enough to power this up. See what happens. Okay, so off camera I took the old blown fuse out and put it to one side and put a new fuse in. We're now all wired to the mains. So first thing is, let's see if the transformer unloaded blows the fuse. Question is, am I getting 240 volts across these terminals? Absolutely. Right, so the transformer unloaded is not blowing the fuse. Let's switch it off at the mains, and now we'll put in the AC/DC power board. So this is receiving 34 volts from the transformer, or it should be thereabouts, and we'll switch on. As far as I'm aware, nothing has blown so far. Let's just check on the outputs. .240 on the inputs, not 240 on the outputs. Right, So that is telling me that something's still wrong with this power board setup. It's not the transformer. Well, at least we've eliminated it's not the transformer. Now all I need to do is work out what on here is causing that to blow. Alright, back to the drawing board. I don't know why I was convinced it was the transformer that was causing the problem, but I've just put a different transformer in and I'm getting the same issue. Which means there is a problem with this power board, this circuitry here, because there's no power coming off it, because all the power from the actual all the power to the rest of the boards is disconnected, so there's nothing downstream that's causing the problem. The problem is squarely here, and I'm kind of rather stumped at this point about what is actually causing the problem. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out, and I'm now going to get the scope out and see if I can work out what components on this board are actually causing it to short, because I don't know where the short is occurring. That's the God's honest truth. So I've now got two power boards that are exhibiting the same problem. Anyway, there will be another part to this Roland S-50 story. Let's see what happens.